on Life Matters with Rion. How you doing, Rion Peterson? How you doing?
Good stuff, Steve. Good to be here.
We're there. Are we recording now?
We're recording.
Oh, the stress and the pressure. We've got to have the audio and the visual now. So, okay, we're recording.
Put on a business suit for this, and I haven't got shoes on. I got my slips-ons.
That's almost like a going uniform in this in the station. So many people see pictures of me and they go, "Okay, you got a nice golf shirt on, but why are you wearing slops or shorts?" Because it's hot. Yeah, no, I dressed up for you. I actually put on closed-toe shoes. But that shirt, you're looking very dapper.
Smart.
You do very
This is
agree.
Cape Town.
Hey, listen. So we're kicking off something unique tonight, and I'm very excited about it. I've been excited since we spoke about it for the first time. It's a 9-part or 10-part if we include the intro. I don't know, what should we do?
Include the in part, nine parts.
9 parts including the intro? All right. Okay, so we're going to be teaching salespeople, or you're going to be teaching salespeople, how to optimize their sales strengths. Now, before we even kick off, give us a bit of introduction on who you are and how this whole sales thing started.
Steve, thanks. Yeah, I've been a sales and marketing strategist for the past 28 years. So as a day job, this is what I do. I work with corporates, I work with small, medium, startup enterprises worldwide. I've got customers as far as Hong Kong, Germany, mostly South Africa. And we decided towards the later part of last year to put an online course together to address the biggest challenge. And the biggest challenge currently is for salespeople, consultants, advisors, coaches, to face a new stream of sales meetings. This is the biggest challenge. You know, most guys, once they face a client, they know what to do. But to face a client has become tricky. And this is what we're addressing in these 9 modules that we're going through. And obviously the online course will teach people how to do it in the digital age and how to stop cold calling into this market and actually utilize value to go to the client instead of bugging people with cold calls and spam emails.
I've been obsessed with the whole concept of sales and sales techniques for the last 20 years.
Sure.
And, you know, if we look 20 years ago, the style of selling versus the style of selling now is universes apart.
It's
you know,
changed.
back in those days, you had your puppy dog clothes, you had your 2 different sides of the piece of paper where you put your pros and your con closes, and they're all manipulation techniques.
Sure.
And buyers have become very savvy to it.
Sure.
So sales as a skill set, as an environment, and as an occupation or profession is changing so fast, and we have to keep up to speed on it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
anybody who's involved in sales who doesn't constantly improve, read, learn, and improve on his skill set will never make it.
Unfortunately, you know, the internet has changed the way people buy, and not necessarily the way we sell and the way we try and connect with customers. The information's out there. When you go and see a client, they would have done research on either LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or your website. So people have got the information. All the information is out there. And where a lot of the advisors or consultants are struggling is to get the face value with qualified clients. And this is what we're trying to achieve and help the guys. This is a strategy I've used for the past 8 years, and it works because you're adding value before you go to a client.
Yeah.
And that's become very imperative. And you need to build your credibility. If you're in sales, if you're a senior advisor in any environment, Steve, you need the credibility before you approach a client. And when you sit there, you need to have a business discussion. You cannot have a discussion about your background. And digital platforms are the perfect way to get the credibility and the authority out there before you meet the clients. The clients can actually come to you.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, the nice thing is about doing this show, it gives me a platform to interview thought leaders and engage with them in a conversation. And when you put out a podcast, whether it's a fund manager or an entrepreneur,
Sure.
you're able to talk from a position of authority, or at least on a peer level,
Yeah.
which when people are doing research, in my capacity as a salesperson, there is a presence. So when they do a Google search, Steve Hughes, they see my articles on
Sure.
Spice for Life, they see my interviews on other platforms, or even my own radio show about business and finance, which if you're not out there and engaging in some sort of a way to expand yourself, and it can't only be a Facebook post or sharing an article on Facebook, it's got to be a lot more, and even more, I believe, than your LinkedIn profile or sharing articles on there. I think you have to be generating your own content. I think you have to be finding a way of proving that you have taken the time to create your own footprint, which I think too few people in sales do.
Here's what's happened. Clients' BS meters are very high. So they understand whether you're authentic in your approach. So unless you are authentic and you say what you mean and you have the credibility to back it up, the clients are going to see through it. So sales pitches, and I get this on a daily basis when people connect with a profile like LinkedIn. As soon as you connect with them, they send you a cold pitch.
Oh,
It's
it kills
probably
me.
the most irritating thing to receive. And I would go back and say, guys, can you actually see what I do as a day job? You know, this is not the way you do it. And this is not the way you approach a person that you want to do business with eventually. There's other ways to do it, and there's smarter ways, and there's easier ways to do it. Back in the day, we could do cold calling. You were there, Steve. I mean, we could do
Do you
20
know,
calls.
funny enough, I still do it. Not telephone cold calling. I do door-to-door cold calling because I love.
But you got a nice hairstyle. You got.
It is a good way of working kilograms off by just walking all the time. But I do it as a social experiment.
Sure.
Because I use it as a way to engage with people and see how I can utilize that, not to sell, but to learn.
Sure.
So I do it, but purely as a way of challenging myself and the people around me. So I'm a bit weird that way.
It is a bit weird in the market. Not many people, if you can do it and you can do it successfully, I say to guys, you know, if you can cold call into the business market and the corporate market, if you can do it well, don't stop. Do not ever stop. But there's probably 1 or 2% of the people in the country that can do that successfully, get a meeting and actually do business with that person. So if you got the time to do it and you're good at it, keep doing it. Don't change that recipe. But what's going to happen over the next couple of years, it's going to become more and more tricky. Because you've currently got about 50,000 spam calls a day in South Africa going out to decision makers. It's not just you trying to contact.
It's going to be a lot more than that.
Dependent on the market.
Sure.
There's a lot of spam calls going out. So you trying to gun for the business of a decision maker, but there's 20 other guys that try to get a hold of him on that same day or a hold of her. So it's a challenge.
It's so funny you mentioned about the whole thing about LinkedIn. You send a request or you receive a request, and it's I get it and I click accept, and then I'm almost waiting.
Anticipating that.
Yeah, you're waiting for the person. I had one the other
pitch
day where
comes
the
in.
person comes in and says, "So, ... have you thought about a second income stream?"
Yeah.
And you just go, "Oh, don't."
Oh, we know what they're selling.
Sorry, yes, it's exactly it. And I've actually, there's a really good podcast I listen to regularly called I think it's Salesman.Red.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's actually called, but it's a British guy. And he had a lady on, and it was specifically on how to use LinkedIn and how not to use LinkedIn. So don't just send a generic, I want to be your friend, this generic thing. Send a bit of a message, connect with a person because that person's actually somebody you need to connect
Sure.
with, not just try to sell because he's a HR manager.
So LinkedIn's powerful. It's probably the biggest platform in South Africa, 5.7 million people.
More than Facebook.
Not more than Facebook, but it's a business platform.
It is.
So
And you know-
Facebook is more of a private platform,
Yeah.
but Facebook's powerful to do advertising on to drive people to you
Yeah, to consumers.
and to end buyers. So even your CEO of a
Oh,
company,
Okay.
surely they are on Facebook. They might not be active on Facebook, but they're there and they watch the grandkids and they look at pictures of the other kids doing sports, so they're on it, but they're not active on it. So you get to those decision makers, but you cannot sell over those platforms.
Yes.
Very important not to sell over a platform like LinkedIn because people will defriend you.
Do you know what is funny? I was on the way back to the office today. I was thinking to myself the difference between Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook has become a very angry, opinionated, empty, shallow communication platform, a social media platform, because it's rants and opinions and political or religious or whatever it might be. There's a very negative, brings
Sure.
you down. But if you look at the posts on LinkedIn, they're uplifting, they're TED Talks, they are positive.
Sure.
The duality of the two different social media elements, one's supposed to be more light and playful, where it's not. It's poisonous. And the other one is very much uplifting, where it's supposed to be business, but it's actually more positive than anything else.
I mean, how many posts do you see on Facebook of people standing on the corner of Church and Rhodes Drive? I'm here. And
Yeah.
so what? You know, get real friends that actually know you.
Here's,
So
here's my puppy.
there's
Okay.
power in both, Steve. There's
Yeah.
power in both platforms, but you got to know how to use it. And LinkedIn, the power of LinkedIn is not to approach people on a cold basis. So LinkedIn is one of the strategies we teach, but you gotta build the credibility. So you gotta add value by doing articles. So you gotta
Yeah, it's
write
not just forwarding, sharing
authentic articles,
Yeah.
stuff you know about. Don't go and copy and paste out of Harvard Business Review.
Mm.
Do something that you understand and add value, and as you build that clientele, you start building credibility. And then there's obviously further steps that you can take.
If you do share an article, is it always advisable to write a paragraph of your own review and interpretation of the article?
Yeah, absolutely. You
can't
start
just
with your
share
own
it.
review.
Yeah.
If you're just going to share, you're going to copy and paste, and people can get that information anyway.
Yes.
So why would they follow you?
True.
The trend is unfortunately becoming very authentic. So if we're not authentic in what we're saying, and people might not agree with what you're saying, Steve, but even bad publicity is good publicity. Say it the way you see it in your industry and advise and try and solve problems for business owners and people that you want to face eventually. By doing that, you're adding value, you're not selling. And eventually when you face them, you'll have that level of credibility.
We're going to take a small break now. We'll be back just after this. Keep it locked onto Life Matters with me, Steve Hughes, on Radio 1.
You are listening to Life.